Hi, guys. So today's Tuesday, and we are going to pick up where we left off on Wednesday. On Wednesday, we started taking a multiplication problem and saying, you know what, I can go ahead and simplify right inside the equation. I do not need to wait until the end and then look at my answer and say, is my answer already in simplest form or not? So, one of the things that we did on Wednesday is that we looked within the problem and we saw some connections, we called them, between the numbers. And so we're going to continue practicing that today. We are going to be on page 95 of our workbooks. So you're going to need out your math workbook, and we're going to be on page 95. So our I can statement today for Tuesday's math lesson is that I can simplify within the problem. Okay, so we're going to simplify some fractions. We're going to reduce them. So I'm giving you some time right now to get out your math workbook on page 95. So while you are doing that, I'm going to go ahead and show you that my workbook is ready to go. And today on page 95, Mrs. Kuhlman and you are going to go through these problems on the left-hand side together. Okay. After the video, you're going to have some independent time, and I'm going to show you what you're going to finish for math today. So I feel that I have enough room right here on my paper for me to go ahead and solve these problems. So I'm not going to need up my math workbook. As you see, we're going to multiply and we're going to simplify first if we can. So we notice that 2/3 times 30. We notice that we have a whole number. We have to turn that into a fraction. Therefore, we're putting a 1 underneath that whole number. So we said on Wednesday, when we are simplifying within, we say, do we see any connections between 3 and 30? And I hope that you are saying that what I see is that 3 is a factor of 3. 3 goes into 3. I'm also hoping that you said 3 goes into 30. So I'm going to go ahead and do that mental division right now. 3 goes into 3 one time. 3 goes into 30 10 times. Sometimes you will also see a connection between these two numbers. Sometimes you will not. So I'm seeing that 1 goes into itself and I'm seeing 1 goes into 2, but because it's a 1, it's just going to keep its value. So I'm not going to make a connection there. I don't need to simplify right there. Now I can go ahead and multiply. We know when we multiply fractions, we go across. So we are multiplying the numerators first. 2 times 10 is, nice job. Now I go ahead and I multiply my denominators together. 1 times 1 is perfect. We cannot leave it like that. So we need to make sure that we write that as a whole number. So my answer is 20. 2/3 times 30 equals 20. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do number 3. Here's another whole number, 1 underneath. And I say, what connections? 5 and 1, there's that 1 again. It doesn't do anything to changing the value, so I'm not going to do anything there. 6 and 4. What is a factor of 4 and 6? 2 can go into 4. 2 can go into 6. 2 can go into 4 2 times. 2 can go into 6 3 times. Now we can go ahead and solve. Across, 5 times 2 is, thank you, 3 times 1 is perfect. We know that we cannot keep this improper fraction. So right now in your head, you are dividing. You're saying to yourself, how many times does 3 go into 10? Okay. And how many do you have left over? 1. And remember that that denominator stays the same. So my answer is 3 1/3. Okay. Looking at number 5. What connections do you see between the 7 and the 14? Got it. 7 goes into 7 one time. 7 goes into 14 two times. I would so rather multiply by 2 than 14. Not only am I simplifying within the problem and not having to simplify my answer at the end, but it's also helping me be able to multiply numbers easier and quicker. What is the connection between 5 and 20? 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into 20 four times. 1 times 1 is 4 times 2 is 1/8 is my answer. Looking at number 7, is there any connections between 9 and 10? No, I'm not seeing any. Is there any factors that 7 and 10 share? Doing some thinking in my head here. I don't see any. So this one doesn't have any. 9 times 7 is 10 times 10 is noticing this is an even number, noticing this is an odd number. This is a really big fraction name still. I'm thinking to myself, is there a number that 63 and 100 share? And unfortunately, there isn't. So we are leaving that fraction just the way that it is. Number 9, what connection do you see with 6 and 24? What is that factor? Now you're saying to yourself, wow, 2 can go into 6 and 2 can go into 24. Yes, those are factors. But is there a factor that is larger? Because remember, we could do that too, but then we would have to simplify again at the end. So we always want to use the highest factor, the largest factor. That would be 6. Whoopsies. 6 goes into 6 one time, right? 6 goes into 24 four times. What do you see with 5 and 25? 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into 25 5 times. So I did my simplifying within. 1 times 1 is 4 times 5 is 1/20. Let's look at number 11. What are you noticing for 8 and 10? 2. 2 goes into 8 four times. 2 goes into 10 5 times. Now, any connections between 7 and 49? 7 goes into 7 one time. 7 goes into 49 7 times because 7 times 7 is 49. Now we go ahead and multiply across with those numerators. 4 times 1 is 7 times 5 is. My answer is already simplified. There is nothing that 4 and 35 both share. So I am moving on. Which fraction is not equal to the others? Well, I need to go through each one to simplify to see what I get. What does 3 and 9 both share as a factor? Yes, 3. So I'm going to divide by 3. 3 goes into 3 one time. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 1/3. These are equal. What about this guy? 8 goes into 8 one time. 8 goes into 24 3 times. I keep seeing that these are equal. I need to find the one that is not equal. What does 10 and 30 both share? 10. 10. 10 goes into 10 one time. 10 goes into 30 3 times. Again, I'm still finding those equivalent. I need to find the one that is not equivalent. What about 6 and 18? They both have a factor of 6. 6 goes into 6 one time. 6 goes into 18 3 times. Still, I have not found it yet. 9 and 36. What do they both share? 9 goes into 9 one time. 9 goes into 36. 4 times. Looks like so far this is probably going to be the answer. I'm going to continue. What is 20 and 60 both share? Remember, since they end in 0, and if these numbers are too large and they're kind of frightening, you just go ahead and get rid of those zeros at the end. Now you have 2, 6. 2. Technically 20. Add that 0 back. 20 can go into 60. 20 goes into 20 one time. 20 goes into 60 3 times. It looks like 936 was the one that was not equivalent. We are going to look at our word problems. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out here. Remember, when we are always reading a story problem, that we are underlining keywords and numbers. So we're going to go ahead and solve. Remember that we are multiplying fractions. In the Fireside Ski Shop, 11/28 of the ski caps have tassels. Okay, so the caps, they have these tassels. This is how many tassels of ski caps there are, pardon me. Of the caps with tassels, 7/11 are blue. So of these caps, this is how much have tassels. Okay. What fraction of the caps in the shop are blue with tassels? Okay, so I'm going to take a fraction of this number. So 7/11, multiply 11/28. Now, instead of going straight across, I'm going to ask myself, do you see any connections that I can simplify within first? I'm seeing something. 11 goes into 11 one time. I would prefer to multiply by ones instead of 11. Is there a connection with 7 and 28? Yeah, 7 times 4 is 28. 7 goes into 7 one time. 7 goes into 28 4 times. Now I can multiply across. 1 times 1 is, 1 times 4 is. So of the blue tassels, there is 1/4 of them out of the 11/28. So 1/4 are or have blue tassels. We need, pardon me, a label with our answer. Okay, so what's going to happen is independently, you are going to finish the rest of page 95. So you are going to work on these 6 problems to the right. You are going to finish the last 2 problems on page 95. When you are finished with those, you are going to move to page 96. On page 96, please cross off the bottom half. We're going to focus on Puzzled Penguin. Remember that we talk about when we answer these questions about Puzzled Penguin that he writes in a friendly letter. You will also be writing back in a friendly letter. If you need more space to write, you should use sticky notes, or you can use this area down here to continue your writing. We're looking for 5th grade writing. 5th grade writing has a restatement. So let's see what our question is. Dear math students, I multiplied 7/12 by 3/4, but I think my answer is wrong. So he thinks his answer is wrong. He multiplied. When you take a fraction of a fraction, you should always get a smaller fraction. But my answer is larger. I'm noticing he has a whole number there. What mistake did he make? How do I correct it? So I'm looking at his work, and it looks like Puzzled Penguin tried to do what we did today. Simplify within. Do you see his mistake? Can you explain to him how he can fix it? So you're going to go ahead and write your response. Dear Puzzled Penguin, you're going to tell me what that mistake was and how he can correct that. You are only going to email me page 96. Okay? So I do not need to see this in your email. Mrs. Kuhlman needs to see this work in your email. So when you are finished, you're going to take a picture and you're going to email me your work from page 96. All right, my friends. I'm going to go ahead and exit this. Here we go. So I appreciate you working super hard at home today. Make sure that if you have any questions that you email me and I will do my very best to get back to you as soon as possible. I am eager to see your work on page 96. Enjoy the rest of your math time. Bye-bye.